So lately I've been getting a lot of requests to take another look at this one, and I figured with the 2020 NFL season kicking off this weekend, I couldn't think of a more perfect time to take a look back at one of my childhood gems. Hey there, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at the highly requested Little Giants, directed by Duwayne Dunham and starring Rick Moranis and Ed O'Neill. You heard me right, Seymour Krelborn and Al Bundy as feuding Pop Warner coaches. Ever since childhood, nerdy, klutzy Danny O'Shea, played by Rick Moranis, has felt inferior to his all-star athlete of an older brother, Kevin, played by Ed O'Neill. Kevin just so happens to have a Heisman Trophy to his name, and I know that because of the word Heisman literally emblazoned on his license plate. How clever, movie. Danny runs a local gas station while Kevin coaches the local youth football team, which is holding tryouts when we first see him in the movie. And Kevin's team rejects Danny's daughter, Becky the Icebox, played by Shauna Waldron, just because she's a girl, even though she is clearly the best one on the team. In retaliation, Becky convinces her dad to start a rival team, though the city can support only one. To prove himself against his brother, Danny begins coaching a team of misfits for a playoff game to decide which team represents this small Ohio town. Before I continue further with this review, thank you all so much for stopping by and clicking on the video. I hope you guys enjoy your stay. If any of you guys are new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below as hard as you possibly can. That way you don't miss any of my future content coming up. I love talking the cinema and all things entertainment with you guys. And please be sure to leave a thumbs up on this video by the end if you enjoyed it. So let's talk about Little Giants, shall we? As a kid, a lot of people don't know this about me, but I actually have 6 years of Pop Warner football under my belt. Even though I was certainly not the most skilled player on the field, I still went out every fall because I enjoyed it a lot. It excited me. It was fun, most importantly. And that's essentially the message that Little Giants is conveying here. It doesn't matter what skill level you are, if there's gonna be Pee-wee football, everybody should get a chance to play. And this film totally resonated with me as a kid, to the point where I went as far as to say this was the greatest sports movie ever made. Yeah, it's not. No way. I think this movie does have a good method of displaying this message, and I think it delivers it fairly well. But Little Giants definitely has its issues, which I'm just gonna go ahead and say this movie's biggest problem is its screenplay. On this most recent rewatch, there were times where the story felt very inconsistent. Now, the whole reason why the Icebox, Rick Moranis' daughter, wants to start this team is because she wants to get on the field. Simple enough. But along the way, she develops a crush on the quarterback, Junior Floyd, and that goal is thrown way out of whack. And I get why this element of the story is there for one last big reversal before the big game itself, but it felt like a reversal for the sake of having a reversal. I mean, you can have the quarterback. I think Junior Floyd's a pretty cool dude, but like the crush aspects just felt a little bit forced. And that's honestly how a lot of this film feels to me nowadays. Very, very forced. And that's probably because it actually follows the exact same blueprint, beat for beat, of the Bad News Bears, which is an instant classic. By the way, release Bad News Bears on Blu-ray, please. I digress. Hell, even the Mighty Ducks, which a lot of people find really corny, I actually think tells this story better than Little Giants does. It's the same exact blueprint for the same exact story, just different sports. Also, the big game at the end of this movie, which I have a lot of fun with still, I find a lot of storytelling issues with that as well. Just as an example, Spike, who I'll get into in just a minute, Dad, I promise. Spike completely runs over one of the smallest kids on the Giants for a touchdown, and there is no penalty. Later on, he gets a late hit on Junior during the kickoff, and there's the penalty flag. Yeah, there's some inconsistencies in the rules here. God, I sound like I'm watching the Seahawks in the playoffs complaining about the refs. Now, at this point, I probably know what you're thinking. You probably think I really hate Little Giants, and truthfully, I don't. I never played hockey, so I never watched the Mighty Ducks when I was younger. Baseball was never my sport, and I did not watch the original Bad News Bears, no joke, until I was in middle school, after all of my football playing days were over. Even though I adore that film. Rest in peace, by the way, Walter Matthau. But that's exactly the thing. I played football, and out of all these nostalgic 90s sports movies, Little Giants was the one that spoke to me the most out of all of those. And you know what? I still get a big burst of nostalgia watching this movie, like I did on my rewatch last night. For example, how about that score? It feels like something straight out of ESPN every Monday night. And there's also a lot of really fun scenes in this movie, including a scene where we get cameos from NFL Hall of Famers John Madden and Emmitt Smith. It's also a really well-directed movie. I think Duwayne Dunham really did a good job with this. And also, the movie actually looks really good. It's really well shot, which probably has to do with this fun fact. So the DP for Little Giants, his project right before this was actually a little movie called, I don't know, what's it called? Schindler's List? Some of you might have heard of that one. But yeah, this gentleman whose name I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce on fear of butchering it, I'm just gonna put it, boop, down below right here. He's a frequent collaborator with Steven Spielberg, and that was actually, when I figured out that that was the same guy, I was like, wow, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Because Little Giants actually is really well shot. But here's one of the biggest praises I can give the Little Giants is these performances. These actors looked like they were having the times of their lives. All of these kids have distinct character traits, and I think they all portray them really, really well. For one, you have the nerdy, scientifically minded kid who is completely scared to step on the field. So basically, Rick Moranis recruits him to be the assistant coach and come up with some really creative plays. Who here remembers the annexation of Puerto Rico? There's also a kid on the Giants who plays wide receiver, and he's known as Hot Hands. And I could have sworn at one point in this movie he did the Diamond Dallas Page pose. But you know who my favorite child performance in this movie was? Spike. I'm just gonna say it right now, this movie needed more of him. Despite what seems like the screenplay's every effort to give him the corniest dialogue possible, he still has the best damn delivery of these lines. Why? Because no matter what comes out of his mouth, he still looks and sounds freaking intimidating. Keep clear, Ice Chest, or I'll have to mess up your face. Spikes in hell. Spikes in pee-wee hell. I also really enjoyed the lead performances of Rick Moranis and Ed O'Neill. O'Neill as Kevin, I was convinced played football for a time. And Rick Moranis, of course, as endearing as ever. Love him. And even though I bashed this movie's screenplay earlier, I really admire the intention and the message, and what I really love is the family dynamic. I could tell that Rick Moranis and Ed O'Neill were brothers. I could tell that Shauna Waldron was Rick Moranis' daughter. Heck, she even gets a couple of heartwarming moments with Uncle Kevin, including what may be my favorite scene in the entire movie, just between those two in a restaurant. And they don't talk about football at all. I mean, at all. And I think it's the best scene in the movie. But obviously, nevertheless, despite its flaws, I still have a few chuckles watching The Little Giants. Personally, this one is a huge nostalgic blast from the past, and all of these actors looks like they were having the times of their lives. And honestly, if I can tell that these actors are having fun, I'm gonna have fun right along with them. I'm gonna give Little Giants a B-. This is not a terrible movie by any stretch of the imagination. I can definitely see why people would dislike this movie. I personally don't. I think it's very fun. If you've never seen this before, I definitely think it's worth a watch. If you're a big fan of Bad News Bears, definitely you'll notice the similarities. But if you're looking to an alternative for Bad News Bears, I think this one might be it for you. But what do you guys think of Little Giants? Have you seen it yet? And also, who is your NFL team? I'd like to hear all of your thoughts down in the comments section below, and I'd love to discuss them with you guys. As you know, I am always game and ready to talk cinema, all things entertainment with you guys, and now sports. Go Seahawks, by the way. And if you guys want to continue discussing all these topics with me, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button as hard as you possibly can. And if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a big fat thumbs up on it on your way out. Guys, you're the best. Thank you all so much for your support of the channel so far. Thank you for clicking on the video and stopping by. I hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to more fun content coming to the channel very soon. And with all that being said, back talk, commence.